back in the sea. Welcome to another real-time update. Coming up, what we're going to have is what's been going on since the last real-time update. What are my immediate plans? I'll answer some questions that I've had in the comments since the last real-time update, and just some general comments I've had in general over the last couple of months. And I'll also use this update as an introduction into the Ocean Rebels podcast and what that's going to be about. So I'll get into a little bit about that later on. But before I get into all of that, and for anyone who's watching thinking this guy doesn't even make YouTube videos anymore, he just pops up and does an update of him talking to the camera for a little explain that's what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, sat in everybody's wake. Yeah, I'll explain a bit more about that. Basically, you know, since the last real-time update I have the cameras being out all the time, episodes have been recorded, and I was umming and ahhing whether to put it back on as daily updates, etc, etc. But equally I wanted to record a bit of a right, let's get back into it video, and for various different reasons I haven't really had the resource time to do it. So by resource I mean electricity. So other than just electricity, it's, you know, there's things you kind of have to do, and getting out of where I was did turn into a real I've got to do this, and that meant to not being able to go do the bits of recording I wanted to do. So yeah, that's the reason. That's the multiple reasons for that. So in the last update we was back I'm going to say half for a reason, invested in, right, let's get back into this, let's get sailing, etc. And I'll get onto the finance part a little bit later, but there was a bit of a plan. It did involve having to wait something out, and sometimes that having to wait something out takes a little bit longer than it was meant to take. But the reason I say half invested was because we was kind of waiting on news on a different boat, so I won't go massively into it in this, but there was a plan for what I would then do with this one. Someone was going to take it. It's a long story, I'll get into it in a separate update, but one thing was for sure, we had to get the boat out of where I was. So since that last update, it really has been all hands to the deck, all hands on deck, if you like. We need to move off that bit of wall. So since that last update, I think in the last one I might have said I've had a bit of a warning from people, you can't be here. We'd already been having warnings from the authorities I needed to move, etc. But it just got really serious. Some of it I won't say on this, but yeah, like, it got scary, and I won't go into massive detail about it, but off the limited budget I already had, I was like, I'm gonna just go over to Portcrawl, wait it out over there until I get paid, and then go from there. I had to go stay 2 nights in a hotel, which I'm in my head trying to think, did I already record this in the update? I think this happened since the update. I think it's just been recorded in episodes that will come on around the time. It's really difficult to record when that's happening. Like, you can't tell if the gimbal's moving with me or what, or if it's making it worse. But yeah, I think what I'll say on that dead quick, and anyone I was talking to at the time, we're talking years of not going and checking into a hotel. We're talking a whole winter where it was horrible, I was full of cold, and not checking into a hotel. So that kind of sums up how it was. I had to lock the boat, take all my valuables with me, and hope. I will in the future say more about this, but yeah, equally I don't want to like worry people, all the rest of it, but it was scary what happened, and then equally during that 2 nights I was like, I need to come back and get the engine on and get out. Like, I'd already been doing some of the work on the engine at that point, so it was like I just need to finish up. There was various bits I was missing. It was a real rush, and I basically just slashed my budget, partly on going to the hotel, but you know, there's no quick bang in a day I can get out of there. There were things I had to do, and you might have seen a little short of a leaking engine. By the time that happened, I had to go. There was no ifs, buts, maybes. I'd say it was safety first. Equally, the legit police had come and said that if the boat weren't moved by the day I moved it, they were going to come and take the boat. By law, I'm not sure where they stand on that. They weren't the biggest reason I left. I just had to get out of there. So that, since the last update, that was it. Like, there was a start of, right, this boat needs to move anyway, so I need to do what I need to do to move it, and then that turned into like, right, no, really need to rush and just get out of here and go put the boat at anchor. And there does come the question, is it safer on land or is it safer out at anchor? And in that immediate moment it was safer to be out at anchor, so that's where we're at with that. Is it ideal being out at anchor? No. And it has taken some real overcoming of, you know, fears, I'd say, because the last time I was at anchor, we know what happened. And not just the what if you end up on the rocks. I'm talking being in the wind, like being worried, because that whole last experience at anchor was frankly quite horrible. So yeah, there was that. There was then also like, I haven't started a boat engine, you know, even though it was leaking, whatever, and used it for well over a year. Well over a year. And even when you are in between sailing, so you might have been somewhere for a week, 2 weeks, and you know, it's time to get moving, or you've got to move the boat, even if it's by motor to another, it does pick up a little bit of you do get a bit anxious. So that, yeah, I'm not too scared to say I was a bit scared to move, but I was more scared of the land at the time. So yeah, so currently I'll show you here, back in the sea. It is strange that the sun's come up, because today and yesterday has been absolutely miserable, and we have like 2 weeks of rain coming up, and it's April, and you know, that's just, you know, you want it to be kind of over by now. Sun's doing nothing for my solar panel at the minute either. I'm limited to where I can move it. I won't go into it now, but it's a little bit broken. So yeah, back at anchor, and that, I guess, is the main point of the update. Back at anchor, and for all the negative comments I'm probably going to get about why you're back on anchor on a boat that doesn't fully work, the fact with no money over the last 7 months, or 8, 6, 7, 8, or whatever it is since that happened, we have managed to scrape and somehow be fairly close to being able to move again. We're just waiting on a few little things and then we should be good. As I say, it's an update, so I'll quickly explain what's wrong with the engine though, for the sake of the update and everyone knowing what I'm talking about. The exhaust elbow was corroded. Tried to fix it with some metal filler sort of stuff, I forgot the exact word for it, and it looked like it was going to check out, and that, you know, there still is the possibility that we can get that leak fixed without a new one. However, equally, the easiest thing to do is to buy a new one, obviously. But as I say, I'm waiting out for some finances and stuff, and I'm not currently in a position to spend 160 is the cheapest one I think I found, so that's going to have to wait. For the sake of just skipping around, sale wise, and the little video I posted earlier shows me trying to put the sails back together. Genoa wise, it's not ideal, and if you're wanting to watch somebody fix a Genoa properly, that's not happening in that video. But it's trying to get it working enough that if, for example, I have to quickly, and I will in the coming days, have to quickly move and go over there, because the wind is due to come from over there, just for 2 days, it's like meaning I can put a little bit of Genoa out and get out of here without the engine if I need to. That's a luxury I didn't have on the boat I got stuck on before. The rig was in a bit of a mess and we didn't have a good wind opportunity since getting there to get out, sort of thing. So at least here we need to be proactive, and if it's going to come, we need to go. Also, we're not alone, we are, but if we get really stuck, the guy over here on the boat would give us a hand, I think. And you know what, this time if I get really stuck, I'll pick the radio up and I wouldn't do that unless I really needed to. But where we are we're protected from the south, and that's where we got really it's rolly. That's where we got really stuck the last time. The waves took the boat the last time, you know, everybody will go, the wind this, the wind that, the wind whatever. It held there in 60, 70, even higher knot gusts. It was the swell from the south that inevitably probably took it onto the rocks. Right, some comments since the last time. Okay, so one thing I have been asked a few times, specifically by Tom, and I'm not sure I'll have got a chance to attach individual comments and do it that way. It is a bit of a pain to edit and record on your phone, so for that reason I'll probably just summarise some of the comments and explain the best I can. But I have been asked about how am I going to get to shore now, because the last time we was at anchor, the dinghy got stolen. So how am I going to get to shore now? I've gone back out to anchor. We have got a dinghy again. One side you can probably see now is a little bit deflated. That's it's like a slow puncture. It's not like the end of the world. Basically I put some air in it, and for the rest of the day it's generally alright. We had that with my other dinghy too. Sometimes when it's hot there's more air in it. I'd have to look at what that means. There was a puncture on it which has been fixed. Maybe there's a very small puncture somewhere else. We also have a paddle, which we are going to protect with our lives this time. But yeah, you'd rather be getting to shore with a nice outboard. Equally, you'd want to be doing that somewhere where you're not fairly certain it would get stolen. So yeah, like at the minute not having an outboard is maybe a bit of a blessing. It's one less thing that can get stolen off the boat. So that, yeah, I think that's maybe been the biggest question. I've covered like what's wrong with the engine. The boat itself you know, it's a boat, innit? Like, it's not in terrible condition. In a lot of ways, it's better than if we take out the middle boat that we never went anywhere with. In a lot of ways, it's probably in better condition than the first boat I started with. The engine, I didn't mention, you know, other than that leak, I'm talking like press the button and it starts, which a lot of people have that, a lot of people don't. I've watched sailing channels where, you know, they had the same thing I used to have, where you're like, are you going to start? How long am I going to have to press the button? How many times am I going to have to press the button? Once I'd got that wired up, which I didn't mention too, was one of the biggest things I've been doing the last 2 weeks, was the engine wasn't wired. I had to work out how to do it, and I complicated it myself a little bit because of how my previous engine was wired. But no, got it all wired in, and it sounds healthy. It's got a leak, but that for the minute seems like the biggest issue. When I come over here, you know, didn't have any issue with warning lights coming on and all the rest of it. I just had to then get a lot of water out of the boat afterwards, but I did have a pump going, so that little shot was a bit chaotic. I had to get it that way because on the day there was no way I could have filmed it, and I said I wasn't going to go off topic today, but there I am. So other than that, and how am I going to get back to shore, there seems to be like a two-way thing, and there's good and bad to it. So I'll start with the good. So generally, the people who have watched for a while, that are still here and waited for me to survive all winter and all the rest of it, maybe hoped too that I'll get back out on the water. Generally, that's for them people. It's been like, oh, really happy you've made it back out onto the water. What are your plans now, etc., etc. And then there is this whole like big brigade of negativity because a boat ended up on the beach, and there's a bunch of people who never saw any of it before, and even some of them that was just probably waiting for that to happen. One comment to sum that up was somebody saying, oh, no more boats for you, you don't deserve a boat, like you should be out on the street begging for money. I don't know why people wake up like this. I want to say that, but there it is. I'm not going to go into the negativity. I'm pretty sure I'll get some for being back out at anchor. It, you know, it kind of is what it is, and there is a plan, and that's what I said I was going to go on to next. So what's the immediate plan? So financially, we have been waiting for a while for this bit of money to come in. I won't massively go into finances because I need to get into it properly in order to make it make sense, but we should have a little bit of money. It's just taking longer to come in than it should. Now, it's hard not to go into detail about it, but yeah, just like we was this time last year, the plan is to go and do boat trips like the summer before, because that was how I made a bunch of money. I have actually done bits of work recently. I've done a bit of graphic design work, a bit of illustration work remotely, which going forward is kind of what I want to do. So if you know anybody needs any low cost graphic design or illustration doing, tell me. I'll do it for a good price. I'm just trying to build like a portfolio at the minute, but I did recently have a bit of work for a yacht wrapping company in Monaco, which was pretty cool. I didn't make a massive amount of money from doing it, but I did manage to have, you know, a decent thing to add to a portfolio, and going forward we'll carry on trying to do that. Equally, going back towards Cannes and Antibes, there's a lot more expats and English people. Yeah, well, it's English people. Hence why I was able to do boat trips, etc. before. If I just had a fully functioning boat now and money wasn't a question. I'd love to sail the other way, to be honest, and not go back where I'd been, but we need to make some money, and you know, we need to make some money, and that is the easiest way. So I mentioned in the last update, Porquerolles was going to be the choice of destination for a little bit, and that's still the immediate plan, and then afterwards probably to Antibes and Cannes. For the minute I have to wait out bad weather, and while I'm doing that I am going to keep trying to fix this leak on the engine. And the mainsail issue I have is, you know, you can move a boat with just the mainsail, but the tracks that go up the mast, when I went to put it up the other day, they got really stuck and it was an effort to get back down. So I equally over the next week need to find a solution for that. So immediate plans are, you know, settle back into anchor, which I've been back out here now a week, and kind of just get back into it. That's taking a bit of doing. You know, you can't just step off onto the land when you need to. I had a massive issue the other day finding water and various other things. But going forward, the plan is to get sailing again, do some boat trips again, be somewhere again that, you know, I think Ben mentioned in one of the comments, like, I hope you can get somewhere that, I don't know if I can't remember if he said safer or where the people are more friendly. It's not everyone, but here has been, you know, a bit iffy at times, a bit scary a lot of the times. And one thing I forgot to touch on then that people have said a lot is, why have you left a safe marina? Why have you not just gone into a safe marina? I took the decision to get the EcoFlow, and that money maybe could have bought me a few weeks in a marina, but one, there was no space in any of them, and two, then what, it kind of made sense to prioritise a bit of a struggle for a little bit in order to then be able to move forward. And other than the fact I'm having issues with solar panel, because we've gone from having 2 back to 1 and the weather's not been great, if that wasn't the case, electric wise we'd be doing alright, honestly. Idiots. In terms of, you know, a lot of things, we lost a lot of stuff on that shipwrecked boat. I saved what I could. Well, we saved what I could. Thanks again to Jean-Marie, the guy who, I don't know if he still watches, but helped drive over with a car, and I'll attach the name when it comes to editing the video, and Sailor Boy number 1 and Emily, who came and helped too, just because we did manage to save like 2 batteries, which, another thing that has been quite a wait since I last came on was trying to slowly charge things and see if they work. We're not in the position to just go buy like another solar panel or just go buy a battery, and the good news is them batteries seem to be checking out, but it took a long time to kind of trickle charge them back to seeing whether they worked or not. But yeah, we probably have more boat than we ever had. We've lost size, and we maybe can't take as many people when we do trips or whatever, and definitely it's not as comfortable space wise. Aesthetically this boat's generally in better condition, but space wise you do feel the difference. But that's the plan, to go back to where we was like nearly 2 years, well yeah, it weren't last summer, it was the summer before, and maybe do them stuff again, but this time be a bit more grateful for being able to do them. And I said last summer there were loads of boat trips I had to turn down. I've already been asked about this summer if I'm doing them again, so that's the plan, to get over and do them. And that was the plan last year. I just couldn't quite make it happen. So that's the plan going forward. Alright, so I did say I was going to mention later on into this video about the What is an Ocean Rebel podcast, but I'm going to put a pin in that for now because I realised how long the video already was when it came to piecing it together. So when that becomes a thing, I'll drop it out there and I'll maybe make a introduction video explaining it. But yeah, that's an update. I will mention quickly to somebody who commented saying, I think it's on one of the shorts I put, good to see you back at Anchor. Mentally you're looking well. Not sure I ever look mentally well, but mentally you're looking well, and you seem to have your sparkle back. So I'm going to end this just saying there is, you know, challenges with being back out at Anchor, and you know, I said earlier in the video there was quite a lot to overcome. And there still is, because I debated the other day actually setting off. I could be recording from somewhere else, and a bit of fear did creep in, and it's all stuff that slowly probably has to come back into it after being out of it for quite a while. So there is that all slowly coming back. The sparkle, I guess, yeah, you know, it's quite nice after being so long of not doing boat things and being stuck on the land, where, you know, I wouldn't live on a boat if I preferred to be on the land, because it's not worth it for all the challenges you get, is it? But yeah, being back out on the water, you know, and that comment, I never really want to go that much into it, but saying mentally well, you know, it's the little things like taking sometimes 15 minutes, I'll just sit looking out the hatch and the sun's just come up, and I'll end this with a little video of the other morning and the, you know, the pink sky, and it's that sort of stuff that does, you know, that it's been like this the whole time, and that's half the reason I can't give up on it, because it is while being on a boat that, you know, I feel focused, motivated, mentally better, and all the rest of it. So like, even the last time when I was stuck at Anchor, I was picking the camera up, I was recording what I was doing. It's only then when it really turned to rubbish that, you know, it kind of stopped. So at the minute we're kind of going with it, and hopefully we can make it work. And to the people who you shouldn't be on a boat, etc., well, you know, if you lost your job, or you crashed your car, or, you know, you didn't pay your rent 1 month, are you never allowed to work, drive, or live in a house again? No. So on that note, here's a pink sunrise from the other morning, and I'll see you in an upcoming video soon. Thanks for watching.